Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today again. So here we are with the next session on AZ-204, developing solutions on Microsoft Azure. So we are covering this certification track for a while, and this is our fourth session in that series. And if you have not yet registered here, if you are joining the direct link, I recommend you to register at azurez.com/az204, which will redirect you to the Eventbrite page where you can register. And there you have certain links that we will be sharing in the end of the session as well for our groups. We'll be talking about our team and the speakers today in a while. Now, today we are covering implement Azure security. So today our speakers will be covering the security aspect of Azure in the from the developer point of view. And to host these sessions, here we have the core team where Vipin Jha, who is also our co-speaker today, who is a Microsoft certified trainer and a consultant based out of Delhi. Ram Murthy, who is also a Microsoft certified trainer and based out of Bangalore. He is a cloud architect. Myself, Ashish Raj. I am also a Microsoft certified trainer and I am a DevOps architect, and currently I'm based out of Bangalore. Sri, who is cloud solution specialist and based out of Canada. Sanjeev, who is our co-speaker today, who will be taking care of the lab module. He is senior software engineer and based out of United States. Nitanshu, who is a Microsoft certified professional, who is based out of Delhi, and he has been supporting us in the background a lot. Kritika is also one of our core team member. She is helping us with all the content, and other things. And also she has hosted few sessions in the past. And then Arun Pachera, who has been conducting few sessions in this series as well, and who will be probably conducting more sessions in upcoming days. He is a Microsoft certified trainer based out of Delhi and is a cloud architect. So this is the cloud, our core team behind the scene who is working, in different aspects so that we can present all these topics in front of you. Now, so today's speakers, out of these core team member, Vipin Jha, who is, our core team member, is going to take care of the first part of session, which will be theoretical part of the session, where Vipin will be exploring various security aspects of Azure, how Azure offers various services and configuration which can make your solutions which you are developing to be hosted on Azure in a more secure way. What are the security options you have? And then after Vipin, Sanjeev will be joining us, and Sanjeev will be kind of hosting a workshop where he will be showing some code examples where how a developer can use those security features, how a developer can secure their applications which they are developing based on the Azure. Now, in this session, as we always do, I mean, in this session also, we will be sharing exam vouchers with selected few. So we will be having a quiz, after the session where you need to participate. Once you participate in the quiz, we will be selecting 6 selected winner will be getting an Azure exam voucher, which we will be announcing in our next session. So today also we are going to announce few winners who will be the people who have participated in the previous session. One selected participant will also get a copy of my book, print copy of my book. Out of, six people will be getting vouchers, and then one person will be getting a book free of cost. And these winners must be, all these participants, we match those people with the Eventbrite data. So you must be registered on the Eventbrite as well. So if you have not registered yet, please go ahead and register for the session for which you are participating in the quiz. If you are participating in the quiz and you are registered on the Eventbrite, then only your name will be appearing on that list. And as I said, winners will be announced in the next session. And please use this hashtag whenever you share your story, and if you think our sessions are helpful, whenever you are it can encourage certain people, few people to join our sessions, as well as it will help us to know that whether our sessions are helpful or not. Now with that, I will invite my first speaker, who is Vipin, to go to take it further. Yeah, Vipin, please go ahead.
Thank you, Ashish, and I welcome all the participants who joined this session today. This is a developer track for Microsoft AZ-204 course, and welcome once again to all the participants, and thank you, Ashish, for this warm welcome. Before we start this particular session, let me tell you about that what certification you people are doing in this particular training. So there are different certification track, and every certification has some specific training. And once you take that particular training and you appear for some exam, then Microsoft gives you some badge as well. So for this particular AZ-204, there is an exam called Developing Solutions for Microsoft Azure. The exam code would be AZ-204. If you appear for the exam, you earn a badge that is called as a Microsoft Certified Azure Developer Associate. Now, to appear for this exam and to successfully pass this particular exam, you should know like what Microsoft is going to assess, like how your skills will be assessed during the exam. So Microsoft has this skill measurement for all the different exams, and this is a best practice for any student, any participant to make a tracker, make assessment list for their self, and prepare accordingly. That helps any individual to know that where they need to improve, where they need to do more and more, and how whether they are ready to appear for the exam or not. So for this particular exam, there are different sections that Microsoft has. The part one is develop Azure Compute Solutions, and you generally have an exam weightage for around 25 to 30% of exam weightage. So there would be questions coming in the exam, and the exam weightage for those questions would be around 25 to 30% in the exam weightage. We have already covered this first section in two different parts in our previous session. Then that was our session number 1 and session number 2. So if someone has missed that, they can go on our YouTube channel and watch and revise those particular topic. Then there is another section that is related to the storage and how a developer uses Azure storage service. From this part, Microsoft generally takes assessments, and the exam weightage is around 15 to 20%. Then the next part is implement Azure security. So this is the agenda for today, like what we are going to do today. We are going to cover this particular section today. And this is also one of the most important thing, because this also has a good exam weightage, that is 20 to 25% exam weightage. This is the second highest weightage out of all others, if you see in this list. Okay. If we are going to cover these particular things in a very short amount of time from now. Then the next section that we have is the monitor, troubleshoot, and optimize your solutions related to developers, and that will be our next session. We'll be covering this in the next session, that particular topic, and okay, that has a exam weightage for around 15 to 20%. Okay, then finally the last section for AZ-204, that is how you consume your Azure services, how you connect your Azure services, and third-party services. So these will be having the weightage of 15 to 20%. Okay, this again will be covering in our upcoming session. So monitoring, connecting, and consuming Azure services are yet to be done in our future sessions. And for today, we are going to discuss the implementing Azure security. Okay. Now, before we start the agenda for today and we discuss any specific topic for today, for any specific Microsoft training, there are some prerequisites. To be successful on that, you must have that particular prerequisite as well. So if you have that prerequisite, that will help you to learn that respective things easily. grab the knowledge for that particular track, that particular training or certification easily. Okay, if we talk about AZ-204, so what prerequisite we have that we expect that every participant should have. So people should have some hands-on experience. They should know some of the Azure services, like they should know Azure IaaS solutions, Azure PaaS solutions. They should know what is Azure portal. They should not be entirely a beginner on Azure or entirely beginner at that thing. So if they know some of the basic things about that, it will be helpful for those people. Okay. Then we also expect that people should have some experience on C#. They should have some experience on writing codes on C#, JavaScript. They may or may not be expert of all, but at least they should know one or few of them. If they know Python or Java, that will be helpful for those people. Okay, the experience, it could be beginner or intermediate. We don't want you should be expert, but at least a beginner or intermediate level experience would be helpful for those people. Okay, then you should also know how to write a code, and some kind of database operations and some kind of data connections, like some SQL database or NoSQL database or SQL Server, Oracle, Cosmos DB, Cassandra. Okay, because when you have some application, generally most of the applications have some kind of database in the background. Okay, and you would be able to correlate those things when you do it in the cloud. Okay, so it will be added advantage for those people. Now, the next prerequisite what we have related to this particular training is what all the participants must have some experience on authentication and authorization services. When we say means what they know, they should know what is authentication, they should know what is authorization, and how to handle these things. How to handle these things in any of such applications. When they want their application should be authenticated with some kind of identity services, and then what level of authorization you want to give to users or some other applications within your code. Okay, so they should be familiar on those things. Okay, they should know some different protocols, like they should know what is HTML, they should have understanding of HTTP or HTTPS protocols, they know what is their STPI interface. Okay, so these are some of the prerequisites that we expect from the participant should have. If you have these kind of background, if you have this kind of experience in that particular case, going for this particular training and going for this AZ-204 track would not be very difficult for you people, because in that case you would be adding a knowledge and implementing that to cloud, and that will be very interesting and easy for you people. But if you are very new to these things, then I will suggest that side by side you should also focus and learn these things parallelly, if your core role, if your profile is related to the developer. Now, moving ahead with this prerequisite, let's discuss that what we are going to discuss today. So today, with respect to implementing security solutions related to the development, what we have two main broad sections here. In the first part, we would be discussing about user authentication and authorization, like how we use how we implement user authentication share, how we authorize those things. Okay, we'll discuss about something called Microsoft Identity Platform. Okay, for any kind of authentication, for any kind of authorization, you always require some kind of identity services, some kind of identity platform. So we'll discuss about Microsoft Identity Platform. Then we'll discuss about authentication using the Microsoft Authentication Library. So almost all the developers use some kind of libraries, authentication library, and some different set of libraries for their development. Okay, so here we'll be discussing about Microsoft Authentication Library. Then we'll see what is Microsoft Graph. Okay, and in the first part of this, the first module of this, we'll be discussing the last thing, that is a authorizing data operations in your Azure storage. So you have Azure storage, you have different set of services in your Azure storage account, and how you authorize any kind of such operation. You want to read something, you want to write something, you want to access. So what are the different various options for that? We'll be discussing here. Post that, we have a second part that will relate to the secure your cloud solutions, and here what we are going to discuss how we implement that. So we will be discussing about something called the Key Vault, and using this Azure Key Vault, we'll discuss how you manage your keys, that is your encryption keys, how you manage your secrets, how you manage your certificates using this Key Vault. Okay. We'll also discuss something called manage entities. What are the managed entities and how you implement it for your Azure resources. Okay, then we'll discuss about the last topic for today's agenda would be app configuration. So what is Azure App Configuration? We'll be discussing that. So these are a quick agenda that we need to cover today. Okay, and we'll be discussing these things one by one. Now, to begin with the very first part, that is the Microsoft Identity Platform. Now, what is this Microsoft Identity Platform? So for any developer, we require some kind of identity platform. Now, if we talk about this thing, what is Microsoft Identity Platform? It is actually a authentication service. Okay, you always require, being a developer, you always require some sort of authentication service. Okay, Microsoft Identity Platform is a one type of authentication service. And why you need this particular thing? You need this so that your users, your customer can sign in. Okay. Now, using this identity platform, your users can authenticate using your Microsoft identities, using their social accounts. Okay. Then using this Microsoft identity platform, you can also provide authorized access. So you should be clear on these two terms, like what is authentication and what is authorization. Okay, authentication, how identity is validated, and once the identity is validated, what level of access that identity has. Okay, what that entity can perform, that is what level of authorization that particular entity has. Okay, so you use this Microsoft entity for performing that authorization access to that. Okay, so that provide authorized access to your API. It could be your own API. It could be your Microsoft API. It could be like a Microsoft Graph. Okay. There are some components. So when we see we talk about the component, means there are some component that makes this Microsoft Identity Platform. So let's discuss that. What are those components that make this Microsoft Identity Platform? So Microsoft Identity Platform actually supports this OpenAuth 2.0 or 2.0. It also supports your OpenID Connect. So okay, then why you actually read this thing? It supports Microsoft Identity Platform is actually an open source library. Okay, we call it as a Microsoft Authentication Library. Okay, and that support for other standard compliance libraries as well. Okay, when we say the other compliance libraries, like your what kind of like it can be authenticated using your work and school account, Azure AD account. It can authenticate using your personal account, like your Skype ID, Outlook.com, and all. Okay, then it gives you application management portal. Okay, and how you do the configuration for that? You can do application configuration for using the API and the portal. Now, it also when we talk about the component of Microsoft Identity Platform, it also has like some kind of developer content. And what is the content here? The content here means like it has some kind of documentation that a developer can use to learn this thing, to know about the knowledge base, to know about some tutorials. Okay, to perform some activity, to get started in those things. So there are some content as well. Then if we talk about what is a Microsoft Authentication Library, so Microsoft Authentication Library is something that enables the developer to acquire some kind of tokens. Okay, so that acquire tokens from the Microsoft Identity Platform, and that token is required to authenticate users and access your API in a secure manner. Okay. When we say to access your API in a secure manner, so what kind of API? It can be your Microsoft Graph, it can be Microsoft API, some third-party API, it can be our own API as well. This Microsoft Authentication Library supports various different platforms. When we say the various different platforms, like some of them, like it supports .NET, it supports your JavaScript, it supports Java, it supports Python, it supports Android, it also supports your iOS. Okay, so the developer can use any of such platform for this Microsoft Authentication Library. There are some benefits that why we should use this MSAL. So what benefit we have actually? Using this MSAL, you don't need to directly use any OAuth libraries in your code. Okay, so it acquire and maintain the tokens automatically. Okay, it also handle the token expiration. So if let's suppose the token has to be refreshed or has to expire, it manages those things automatically. Then it also specify the audience. When we say the audience using this MSAL, you can specify that who would be the user who can log in. Okay, who can sign in. Okay, like the audience can be your the people who have the work account, the people who have the Microsoft personal account, or they have some social identities. Okay, so using this MSAL, you can specify the audience as well. Now, when we speak about the MSAL, that is Microsoft Authentication Library, it is what? So it is actually a evaluation of the Azure Active Directory Authentication Library. Okay, so that was a version 1.0, and if we talk about that, that is actually a deprecated thing. So being a developer, we suggest to use a new one, that is MSAL. Okay, but yes, it's Microsoft has declared the life cycle for this. It will be available, but the current status is this is deprecated. Okay, so it's recommended to use the new one. Okay, and what evolution happened from a Active Directory Authentication Library to Microsoft Authentication Libraries? Your version 1.0 supports your work account. That doesn't support your personal account. Okay, the Microsoft Authentication Library 2.0 supports personal account as well as your work account. Using this MSAL 2.0, you can also authenticate for using your Azure AD B2C or like some public identity provider like Facebook, Google, LinkedIn. Okay, so you can use those things as well. Next is a Microsoft Graph, and in this section we'll discuss what is a Microsoft Graph actually. So Microsoft Graph is what? It is actually it is like a gateway to the data, and what kind of gateway and what kind of data. So it's actually a gateway to the data in your Microsoft 365. Or you can call it as enterprise mobility or Intune. Okay, and it exposes the data. Okay, using this Microsoft Graph, it exposes REST APIs and client libraries to access data. Okay, from the Microsoft 365 services, and within this Microsoft 365 services, it could be your Excel, your Teams, OneDrive, OneNote. Okay. And why this required? This required to build your apps for your organization, for your customers. Okay, and just to see this in a diagram, this looks like this one. So like we have Microsoft 365 platform, and using some connector, you can use this Microsoft Graph, and you can use some connector, and using that connector also you can use the endpoint of a graph, and that will fetch the data from your different services. Okay. Then to move ahead, the next section is what? The next section is something very important related to authorizing of data operations. And what is that? In this sections, we are going to discuss how you have options for authorizing the data operations in your Azure storage. Now, here, if you see this particular table, we have some options at the first row, and that says like shared key or storage account key. Then I have mentioned share access signature, then Azure Active Directory, on-premises ID, anonymous public access. So what is these? So these are the different options actually that we have that we can use to authorize someone for our Azure storage services. Like when you have Azure storage account in Azure, you have a different set of services based on what type of Azure storage account kind you have created. What is the kind? You may have Azure Blob service, you may have Azure File service, that is Azure File SMB, or it can be Azure File REST. Okay, you may have Azure Queue or Azure TFL. So your Azure storage account can have these 4 types of services actually majorly. And then to access any data from any of these storage service, okay, we have a different option. Like we can use any such option, like I can use a storage account key, I can use a shared access signature, or I can use my Azure Active Directory, okay, to provide some kind of authorized access. Okay, now in which scenario, which one would be applicable and where this option will be supported or not supported, we should be very much clear on that first. Okay, if you're clear on that part, then only we can choose appropriate options. Okay, so if you talk about a shared key or account key, that is the storage account key, this is applicable for all kind of storage services. Now, if I'm using this particular service and this particular option, in that case, using this storage account key, I can authorize someone on Azure Blob service. I can authorize someone on Azure file that is SMB or Azure file that is REST. Okay, Azure file REST is generally used for the application of connecting our application to the Azure file service, and Azure file SMB is generally that we generally use for mounting to some Windows system or Linux system. Okay, on SMB protocol. So using that, you can use it for any of the storage service, like whether it is Azure Blob, Azure File, Azure Queue, or Azure Team. Okay, it's a good thing, like you have option to give access at the account level. But yes, unless otherwise it is not really required, we should not give this account key option to anyone. Why? Because using this, you have account level access. The person will have an entire account level access. Even though you have an option to customize that, what level of action and what service that identity will be accessing. But yes, it's not it should not be a primary choice. Then we have a second option. You can also authorize your Azure storage service using Sas signature. Now, when we say the Sas signature is supported for all the Azure storage service except your Azure file SMB. Sas signature doesn't work for a Azure file SMB. Okay, it works for Azure file in the REST, but yes, it doesn't work for your Azure file SMB. Apart from that, you can use Sas signature to authorize your Azure blob, your any file object or any container in the Azure blob, or your Azure file REST, Azure Queue for some of the application, Azure table for some of the applications. Okay. The next option that we have is a Azure Active Directory. Okay. When you have your Azure account created, you always have some Azure Active Directory. Okay. You have some entities there. You can use the Azure Active Directory to authorize your Azure blob. Okay, you can also use that for your Azure file, but there is a condition here. If you want to use Azure Active Directory to authorize the Azure file SMB, in that case, you must need Azure Active Directory domain services. See, Azure Active Directory and Azure Active Directory domain services are 2 different things. Okay, so if we want some, if we want that to give authorized access to Azure file as a SMB, in that particular case, we need a Azure Active Directory domain services. Okay. You cannot use this Azure Active Directory to give access on Azure File REST. Okay, and you cannot use this for your tables as well. It is supported for your blob. It is supported for your Azure File Assembly. It is supported for your Azure Queue services. Then there are many organizations who generally have the on-premises Active Directory. Most of the organizations have Microsoft on-premises Active Directory. They also have some kind of a hybrid environment. When they have a hybrid identity, they synchronize their on-premises Active Directory identities to the cloud, to the Azure Active Directory. Okay, so if you have on-premises Active Directory that is synchronized to your Azure AD, you can use your on-premises AD as well to authorized access. Okay, now in this case, this can be used only for your Azure file SMB. This cannot be used for any other service. When we say the any other service means like your Azure blob or Azure file rest or Azure queue or Azure table. So those service things are not supported here. As of now, it is not supported. Okay. There may be some enhancement in the future and Microsoft may add that particular thing in the future, but as of now, it's not supported. Then there is one option for anonymous access as well, and that is the anonymous public access. When we say the anonymous public access means using this anonymous public access, I can give the access to anyone across the globe. Okay, and that person will have the access. Okay, that person will be authorized to access that. The person or application will have the access to that. Okay, this anonymous public access is supported only in case of the blob, Azure blob service. Okay, this is not supported in any other service in your Azure storage. Like this is not supported in Azure file. This is not supported in your Azure queue. This is not supported in your table as well, Azure table as well. Okay, now we'll discuss these things in more detail in upcoming slide. We'll discuss about the storage account key. We'll discuss about the SAS signature in the upcoming slide. Okay, so that you can use a respective thing based on your need and the business requirement. To begin with, the first thing that is a storage account access key. Now, what is this storage account access key and when we have this and how it works actually? At the time when you create your storage account, okay, like you have an Azure account and within your Azure account to avail any of the Azure storage services like your file, your blob or table or queue, you need to create your one storage account as well. At the time of your storage account creation, what happened? The storage account keys are also created. Okay, it's created automatically. Now, when it is created, how many keys you have actually? So there are two keys which are created by default, and both the keys are actually a 512-bit of storage account keys. Okay, you can use this key to authorize access to your data in your storage account. Okay. Then, what is the meaning of like whether we should use it or not? So this storage account key is just like a root password, just like your admin password or root password for your storage account. Okay. When you give this password to someone that can use anything in that. Okay, yes, we have an option to enable or disable some of the permissions in that, but yes, it works like a root password for your entire storage account level. Okay, so if you are using this thing, you should be more careful to protect your access keys as well. Okay, when we say access keys here, that is the storage account access keys. How you can protect your access keys? Okay, to protect your access key, we have some service in Azure that is known Azure Key Vault. Okay, so Azure Key Vault we can use. We are going to discuss Azure Key Vault in upcoming slide very shortly. So we can use Azure Key Vault to manage and protect our storage account keys as well. That will take care of managing that. That will take care of rotations of that keys as well. Okay. And if you think like that the key is compromised or if you doubt for that particular thing, it's always the best practice to rotate that. Then another option that we have seen in the first slide here related to this Azure storage, okay, that was something called as a shared access signature. Okay, now what is this shared access signature? The shared access signature is what? It is actually like a URI. It is just like a string actually. Okay, now it's a URI and that contains some token. Okay, what kind of token it has? That token that that SAS token tells you the validity, the information, the permissions, and all things about that. You can use this to authorize any specific thing in your Azure storage. When you say any specific thing like your blob, your file, your entire blob, or any specific file in that. Okay, you can give a respective delegated access to those resources in the Azure storage. Using the shared access signature, you also have an option like you have a granular control. Means you can specify the resource access, what level of resource access that, what resource the SAS will authorize. Okay, like the blob, your file, your table, queue. Okay, plus you can define a different set of permissions as well, like read permission, write permission, delete permissions, and many more permission listed there. Okay, plus when you use this SAS signature or a shared access signature, you also have an option to define the validity. Means how long this SAS will be valid. I can define that this SAS URI should be valid for 1 hour only, or for 1 day only, or for 7 days only. Okay, I want to give it to someone to work for a few hours or for some application for some purpose only. Okay, so you can define that validity in this SAS signature. Now, how this SAS, when you have to actually generate this SAS, by default there is no SAS, you need to generate this shared access signature. Okay, now once you generate the SAS signature, it is one of the example. How does it look like actually? Okay, this SAS signature actually looks like this particular example. So here if you see, this is like this begin with like HTTP or HTTPS, which particularly you are using. Okay, then your storage account name. When we say the storage account name, the storage account, when you create a storage account, that must have some unique, globally unique name, like my account name. Okay, then it has a DNS name suffix like blob. If it is a blob, it will be blob. If it is a file, so it will be file. If it is a table, it will show like a table. If it is a queue, it will appear like a queue. Okay, then there will be a suffix like core.windows.net. So this is a Microsoft DNS suffix here. If you do not want to use this particular thing, you do not want to do a Microsoft branding, you can use your own custom domain as well. You have option to add your own company's name. If you own any domain publicly, you can add that and you replace this core.windows.net with your mycompany.com or any name of your organization. Okay, that any domain name that you are owning actually. Okay, then you have some Sas containers. Sas container is actually the folder that we have. Okay, the bucket or the folder that we have. Within this container, we have an object or a file. We call it as an object or a blob object or a file, that is a SAS blob.txt. Okay, now try to understand that the other parameters that we have here. Okay, now what is there in this particular syntax, entire syntax. So here it's like HTTPS, my account, my storage account name, then blob.core.windows.net. Then my if it is a blob, in that case it will be my container name, then within the container the file name or object name, and then like this SV, what this SV specify? This SV specify your storage service version. So what storage service version it has, it shows that particular thing. Then at the time of SAS generation, if you specify any start time and end time for that, it will also specify the start time. So start time will begin with this ST. ST tells you like this start time begins with this particular time. Okay. And if you have specified the expiry, like this expiry will be done from this time to this time, this will be the expiry time. In that particular case, you can use this expiry time as well. So here it will appear in the Sas URI. It will Sas URI with the token. It will appear like a SE equal to this time. Okay. Then, as I said, we can use this Sas for Sas signature for any Azure storage service. Like we can use it for file. We can use it file in the REST API. We can use it for table, queue, or blob. Okay, so this is for what type of storage resource. So here SR stands for that. SR equal to B, that means this is for a blob. B stands for the blob here. Okay, then what permission we have assigned in this Sas? So if you see like SP is equal to RW, so RW means the read write permission. Okay. We can also specify the IP address, that the source IP address from where it will be accessed. So if you specify any IP address, okay, in that particular case, it will appear like a SIP is equal to the IP address that you have specified. It can be a one IP address. It can be a range of IP addresses as well. Okay. Then we also have option to specify the protocol, whether it would be HTTP or it will be HTTPS. So if you have specified that, it will appear the protocol like here like SPR. SPR stands for the protocol here. Okay, like here in this example, it is HTTPS. So it will be accessible on HTTPS protocol. Then at last you see the SIG, that is the signature. Okay, that is assigned to your Sas URI. Right. So this is the one example. If you want to, when you generate a Sas signature and you try to read this particular thing, you would be able to understand, okay, that what parameter we have specified at the time of a Sas URI generation. And you can use this Sas at various places for authorizing your Azure storage, okay, to access any data in your Azure storage account. And one of the best solutions that we generally use, one of the recommended solution as a best practice. Then we have something called as a course. Okay, so what is this course? CORS. Course we generally use when we have one application in one domain, and we want that application should access the resource in some different domain. Okay, so you have web applications in domain A, and you have some resources in domain B. Okay, you have some cross-domain requirement. In that particular case, you use this course. You can use this course as well. Okay, and where you can use this course, so you can use this course for you have to define some course rule actually, and you can use that for blob, file, table, and queue at all the places. Okay, these are some of the options that we have discussed related to the different authorization options that we can use to authorize the data in your Azure storage account. Based on the requirement, we can use the respective things. Okay, moving ahead, we'll be discussing about how you manage a key secret using your key vault. So we'll discuss about those key vault and how you manage that thing. Begin with what is this Azure Key Vault? So Azure Key Vault is a service in Azure that helps you to manage your secrets. Okay, you can manage a secret there. Okay, you can also manage the key. So it is a service that helps you for secret management. It is a service that helps you to manage your keys, that is your cryptographic keys, your encryption keys. Okay, that also helps you Azure Key Vault to manage and store your certificates as well. Right. When we say the secret management, it's like to control your access token, to control your password, API keys. Okay. When we speak about the certificates, so in that case, a certificate like your TLS certificate, SSL certificates. Okay, you can use those things to keep it in your Azure Key Vault. There are several benefits that we have if we use this key vault, and what are those benefits actually? It helps you in several ways, like it increases security. Okay, it increases security and control over keys and password. Okay, and how it does that? You don't need to manage that thing. Like you can create and import encryption keys. Okay, it can help you in rotating that. Okay, and when you have some application, and let's suppose you have some key, you are using that key to access using that particular key. Okay, your application will not have direct access to the key. Key is actually stored in the key vault. Okay, they will have some access policy. Based on that, they will be using that key to access the data. Okay, but they will not have a direct access to that key. This Azure Key Vault is also validated based on some standard, some compliance standard, that is FIPS 142 level 2 and level 3. Okay, that is your Federal Information Processing Standard. So it's validated with that. Okay. Then Azure Key Vault also helps because like Microsoft services are available in different regions. Okay, it also helps you for reducing the latency, network latency, and the cloud scale for global redundancy for applications. Okay. If you want to do any kind of automation, if you want to simplify the management of your certificate, that is SSL and TLS, it helps you in those scenarios as well. Now, as I said, this key vault we can use to store our secrets, to store our keys, to store our certificates. Then we have some application that will be using this. So how any application will be authenticated to access these keys? All right. So, or any other service that we have in Azure, how those service will be authenticated to access these keys which are stored in the key vault. We have several options for that. Like we have something called as a managed entity. We can use the managed entity. You can use the managed entity for Azure resources. Then we have service principals and certificates. So you can use a service principal and with the certificate. You can also use service principal with the secret. Okay, so these are the several options that we have that we can use to authenticate your key vault. Okay, we are going to discuss managed entities in the coming slide, like what is the managed entity, what type of managed identities we have, how this managed entity actually works. So we'll be discussing these things, but yes, you should know like what different options we have. As a best practice, see, you have all these options, but if we talk about the best practice, Microsoft do not recommend you the second and the third option. Like Microsoft do not recommend using this service principal and certificate or using service principal and secret. As a best practice is we always recommend to go with the managed entity. Okay, and why it is so, we are going to discuss the managed entity later on in upcoming slide. You will be able to understand that. Let's see like how we use managed entity and what are the managed entities actually. Now, so generally, what is the managed entity? There is a common challenge that most of the developer actually face, and what they face when they have some application and they want that some kind of secure communication between the component of their different solution. They have application that has different solution, application A, and then that has some other resources, some services that need to connect and communicate to each other. They have some challenge, like they need to write some codes and credentials in the, they need to specify some credentials in the codes. Okay. Now using this managed identity, you can overcome with that thing, that challenge. Okay. Now, managed entities is what? It is actually an identity for our applications. Okay. And that helps to authenticate with the authority authentications. All right. Now, how it helps? It helps you to obtain Azure AD tokens. Okay, it helps you to access resources like Azure Key Vault, where developer can store the credentials. Okay, then when we say the manager entity, so actually the manager entities are of two different types. Okay, when we say the two different types, managed entities are the first type of the managed entity is what? That is actually a system assigned managed entity. What is the system assigned managed entity? System assigned managed entity means when you have some service instance and you have some managed entity, this managed entity will be associated to your service. Okay, and it will be tied to the lifecycle of your service instance. What does it mean? If you delete that resource, if you delete that Azure service, that in particular instance, this system assigned identity will also be deleted. Okay, so means if I have an entity, I have associated this to some service instance, means one system assigned identity can be assigned to one particular service instance only, right? And it will be as tied to the life cycle of that particular service as well. So if that service is deleted, in that particular case, this identity, the system assigned identity will also be deleted. You cannot use the system assigned managed entity for multiple service instances. If you have that kind of requirement, you should go with the user assigned system entities. When you create this user assigned system managed entity, means you can create it separately. It is actually a standalone Azure resource. Okay, when you create a user assigned manager entity, it can be assigned to one or more of the Azure instances. Okay, and it is also managed separately. Means when we say it is managed separately, it is not tied to the lifecycle of any specific services. So if I have one user assigned managed entity that I have tied to one specific service, and then I have tied the same thing to the some different service. If I delete the first service, I still have this user assigned managed entity. Okay, and I can use it multiple times for the different Azure instances. Now, if we talk about how this system assigned managed entity actually works, so this is like actually an entire flow, how your entire system managed assigned entity actually works. Now, if you see this particular diagram, what happens? So your resource manager, that is your Azure resource manager, receives a request to enable. Okay, like receive request to enable some kind of a system assigned entity on a VM. Okay, it's an example here. We have taken example as a VM, like Azure VM is one service for which we want to use the system assignment entity. Okay, so your Azure resource manager will receive a request. Okay, to enable a system assignment entity on the VM. Once it receives the request, what will happen in that case? This Azure Resource Manager will create an identity service principal in Azure AD. In fact, this managed entities are also a one type of service principal. So internally in the background, it is actually a one type of service principal. Okay. Now, so Azure Resource Manager will create a managed entity, and that is actually service principal in Azure AD. Okay. Then once it create, it will update the Azure Resource Manager, configure the identity on that VM, and it will update the metadata. Okay, that is the instance metadata service. Now, once this will happen, what will happen? Then in the next, it will grant the managed entity the some sort of access based on the RBAC. Okay, based on the RBAC, what role-based access control we have defined, it will grant the managed entity the access to that particular resource or service. Okay, once it is done, post that, what will happen? It will your code, the code that you have, that okay, that will request, like your VM will request a token. Okay, from your metadata service endpoint. Right, once it will request that particular token. Okay, and request is taken from the request token is taken from the Azure AD, right? And once that request token is requested, then what will happen? A call will be made to the Azure AD to access that token. Okay, that means the token that we have taken in the previous step number. Okay, and it will return to a web token, that is a JSON web token access token. And finally, your code will send the access token to a call a service. Okay, that's support, and this will happen only for those things where the Azure AD authentication is supported. So if there is Azure AD authentication is supported, then you can use this manage identities. Okay, this is a flow like how this system assigned manage entity works actually. So if you know this flow, you would be able to understand and correlate this particular manage entity. Okay. Post this, we have next thing for today, that is the Azure App Configuration. So what is this Azure App Configuration actually? Azure App Configuration is something, it's the one that actually helps you to centrally manage all the application related settings. Okay, application related settings, the feature flags. Okay, it helps you to store your settings for an application like encryption or sensitive information at the rest or in the transit as well. Okay, it's a fully managed service that can be set very quickly. Okay, you can use tagging, you can use label. Okay, you can use the dedicated UI for the, there is a dedicated UI for the feature flag management. Okay, so this is all about this is a quick that we can cover up in this short amount of time related to this particular thing. But yes, if you go on reading on some of all the most more references that we'll be sharing later on and doing some hands-on, okay, that will definitely give you more exploration and learnings within these services. And with all these, what we'll be doing, we will be taking a short coffee break in some amount of time, and post that we have some demo sessions, and post break we have Sanjeev Panigadi will be helping you with some demo that will help you to learn all the things what we have covered during this theory discussions. Okay. Thank you everyone for this thing, and let's meet. Let's come back post this coffee break. Yes, before coffee break, let me announce a few of the things. Post coffee break, we'll also be having some quiz, and if you appear for that particular quiz sessions, you have a chance to appear for lucky draw, and using this lucky draw, if you are a lucky winner, you may have some exam voucher. You can also win a book, okay, which is written by Ashish, okay, one of our speaker and a core team member of this Azure Easy, okay, and specifically for Azure DevOps, okay. So if you're a lucky winner, you can get those things, plus we will be announcing the winner for the previous sessions, okay. So let's have a quick 10 minutes of break from now, and post that we'll start that thing. Let me start that break timer. Welcome back, everyone, once again. Hope you have enjoyed your short coffee break. Now we have some demos so that you understand the things what we have discussed so far. For demo, what we are going to see, we are going to see how we authenticate and do query using the Microsoft Graph and by using this Microsoft Authentication Library and .NET SDK. And for this, what we are going to do, we have three different tasks. We'll be creating Azure Active Directory application registrations. You need to register your application first, then you will see how to obtain a token by using this Msl.NET library. Then we'll use the Microsoft Graph for query using the .NET SDK. And then we have second app that will use to access resource. Okay, the secrets most. Okay, here we'll be using your manage entity. You will see how to configure secrets and identities. We'll see how to build Azure Function app, and then we'll see how to access your blob. Okay, within your Azure storage account. And for all those things, so we have Sanjeev Panigari. He will help you to demonstrate this particular thing. Let me welcome Sanjeev. And from here, Sanjeev, this session is handed over to you.
Thank you, Vipin. Thank you, Ashish, for organizing this session. And thank you again, Vipin, for giving a nice overview on in this module. So now I will be sharing my screen and we will be going through the implementing how to implement the Msl.NET library and use it to get the token. So let me share my screen. Yeah. I think you can see my screen. Ashish, can you just confirm if?
Yes, it's on live now.
Yeah. Okay. So before moving it, we will be in the first task. We will be using two of different libraries to access the to implement to get the token from the Azure Active Directory, and we will query it out. So let's go ahead and use it, and let's see how what is in our plate. So this is I'm in the home directory of the Azure portal. So let's go ahead and go to our Azure Active Directory, and here what I can do, I can just register a application over here. So I will do a app registration. Let's name it the Graph Console app. So I'll be doing it through a console app. So make sure if you are using a web app, if you are going to register a web app, then you select the web app over here. Or if you are doing a console app, then make sure you are doing the public client native mobile and desktop app. So as I will be doing it with a console app, which will be easier to debug for me. So I will be just using it over here. So here I will be giving it like I will be providing a localhost URL. So let me go ahead and put it like localhost. The class I will be saying 1236. Okay, so sorry, I need to put that colon over here. Let's give it as this is the URL I will be using to query the Azure Active Directory. So let's go ahead and register it. Let me see. Yes. So let's go ahead to the authentication part, and we have everything ready. So we need to just allow the public client flows over here so that it can allow us to query it out. Okay, so I have it. Now let's go ahead and create a console app and check how it works. So for this, you need to install, as I am using the .NET version, you can do it with other technologies as well, like the Java and all. But as I am using .NET, so I think so I will be using a NuGet package, which is a package manager for the .NET. So let's go ahead and uh, install a package. If you search Msl, let's see. So we will be installing, this one is the Msl .NET library, which we will be using. So let's install it, then we will see how we will use it to query the. Yeah, now it's installed. So we will be using, and this library provides us some of the classes which we can use to query the use to query the Azure Active Directory where we have done our app registration. So here what I will do, I will just use the iPublic client application interface to instantiate it. I will be using the public client application builder. So I will use it, and this is this provides us some of the methods to use it and query the AD. So I will be creating the instance of this one. For this one, we need two of the major things. One is our client ID, and another is our. So let's first create a. So we will create client ID variable. Uh, we will get it from the app registration page where we did it. So let me create it, then I will get the client ID and tenant ID. Then we'll put it over here. We will feed to the public client application builder so that it can. So these are the your application ID and tenant ID. Let me copy it and let me put it over here. So this is my client ID. Then we will go ahead and copy the tenant ID. Yeah, so these are my client ID and tenant ID because this application builder, when you create the instance of application builder, you need to feed it with the client ID. So this is where I provide the client ID. Then let's go ahead and the syntax is with authority, I think. Yeah. So here I will provide the Azure Cloud instance. This is Azure Public, and I'll provide the tenant ID. Then we need to provide the redirect URI as well. So our redirect URI will be the URI which we gave over there, which is HTTP colon localhost colon 1236. Then we will do the dot build. Then we need to provide what is the kind of scope we want to give it while querying it. So what I will do, I will query it with a read scope. So let me go ahead and Let me provide user.read. So we have our read now. So next is our, we will do authentication result equals to, we have our already the app registration we have done over here. So what we will do, we will write cpp, sorry, app dot acquire yes, we will use the acquire token interactive. So here we will provide the scopes because and then we will say execute async. So here I am doing it in a asynchronous manner. I am calling the execution as an asynchronous manner. So I need to make my main method also a async one. This async event is like just to do it in a multi-threaded environment, and so do not bother about those things. Those things are different for different programming level. So we will not go deep into that. Just for your information, I am doing it in a, as I am querying outside environment, I am doing it in a multi-threaded environment. So here it goes. Then we can, what we can print, we can say that console.write line. We can write something like that, token. Let me have for token colon plus result dot access token. So this will give us the access token for this one. Let's go ahead and run it. Let me put a debug point over here so that we can debug the application if something happens. Not sure if this will work or not, but let's try it out. So when you open this one, it will ask you to register, like sign into your Microsoft account. So you just need to grant the access. So something like this, which is this one. So you need to just do the accept. Yeah. So now we have granted the access. We can see that it is printing some access token over here. So this is the token which we got it from the app registration which we did in Azure Active Directory. So this is the way you can query, like you can play around with the Microsoft Msl library. So this is the one way. Next, we will be seeing, we will be querying it with the Graph API, which we have. Let's go ahead and do the Graph API thing, and we'll see how it works. So I think this is the basic app registration which I have done. A basic application, a console application which just goes out and reads the access token. So the way, like if you are doing it in a web app, you need to do some like you need to inject the data and all. So I have just hard coded everything, and I just played it around over here. Next, we will see how the graph one works. So let's do one thing. We don't need this one to the for the graph one. So let's do and comment it out. I'm just commenting it out. So for the graph one, we need to again install some of the NuGet package, which is your Microsoft.graph and Microsoft.graph.auth. So we need both the library. We won't install. Okay, so let's install the preview one. Yeah, so that is installed. The dot graph also we need, so we need to install this one. Let's install the stable one. Let's see if it works out. Yeah. So I think we have installed both the sorry, both the NuGet package. Now we will see how it works. So what we need to do, we need to use the device code provider actually, not the code wizard. So we need to create the provider instance where I will be using the app colon scopes. So what I did, the device to the device code provider, I just injected the app and the scopes. Then what we will do, we will use the graph service client. So I'm just creating the graph service client instance where I will be using the graph service client, which is mine, and I need to inject the provider to this one. So let's go ahead and do that. Then we will do user, let's say profile equals to, we need to do await client.me dot request, sorry, this should be request, yeah, request dot get async. So what it will do, it will go ahead and it will try to fetch my entire profile for the client ID and the tenant ID which I have registered. For that one, it will go ahead and fetch my data. So here, then what we can do, we can just print out let's say the name. We can do what profile dot display name, and what else we can do? And do console.writeLine, and we can print the Active Directory ID as well. So what we can do, I can just append profile dot ID. So let's sorry. Yeah, I'm just putting the read line so that it can wait over here. So let me just run it. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so when you run this one, it asks you to register the device. So I will be registering this device by logging in into this one. So let's go ahead and register it. For that, you just go ahead and do the put the URL on the browser and copy the code which it gives us. So I will be copying it and pasting it. Yeah, and I'll do the continue. Okay, so now I think, yeah, now the when I did the registration, it came back, the execution flow came back, and now we have the data and we can see it is printing. So it is printing my name and it is printing the Active Directory ID as well. So this is the way you can use to query you can play around with both these libraries and just get a lot of information. And Microsoft has very good documentation in their portal to get a lot of information. This is just the basic info which I just used to give you a demo so that you can see that how how you can use it. So let's go ahead and check the next function. Okay, sorry. So let's go ahead and check which one we will be seeing the Azure function. We will be using Azure function and Key Vault, and we will be pulling the data from the Key Vault, we'll use a similar way which we have used in here. I will be creating an Azure function in this Visual Studio, and we will be creating Key Vault and function apps over the Azure portal. Then we'll see how it works out. So let's go to app. Let's create a resource group. We will creating it as a, let's say, demo 27 June. Okay, so I'm just creating a resource group. Inside this, we will create all our resources required for today's demo. Okay, my resource group is created. Now let's go ahead and I will be creating a function app. So you can create the resource group over there as well. File creating, you can put a create new, or you can just use the demo 27 RG I'm using over here. So I will be creating a, let's say, we'll be creating a secure func, and we'll be using AzureTalk. So I'm just creating a Azure function app over here, and we will be using runtime as .NET. And so let's go ahead and review and create. Let it. Check. Yeah, so let's go ahead and create it. Okay. So it is getting deployed. Let's wait for that.
Sanjeev, you there?
Yeah.
We lost you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I am there. Yeah, it's getting deployed, so I need this one to be deployed so that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We also needed a. I think we also need a storage account as well. So let's go ahead and create a storage account as well. So let me go ahead and create a storage account. By the time I think that got created, I'll be using 27 storage account name. Let's make it secure storage and Azure Easy. So yeah, so let's go ahead and create it. We have created this storage account as well. Yeah, so now what we will do, we have our function app, let's say the secure func Azure Easy. So currently we don't have any functions over here. We'll just create a basic function from our Visual Studio, and we'll publish to this one. So let's go ahead and create the Visual Studio. Yeah, so I will be adding a new Azure function over here. Where is the Azure function? Yeah. Yes. So let's name it as a secure func. We'll be creating it here. So let's make it as an HTTP trigger, and then we'll just publish it from here. So let's go ahead and we will name it as secure func demo. Yeah. So let's go ahead and publish it, and we'll see. So we'll go ahead and we'll create a profile. Yeah, we can name it as secure app service, and our resource groups would be this one, and let's take it as HTTPS2, and our storage group would be this one. Yeah, so these are the information which we have created. I just used the resource group demo 27 June RG and the secure storage Azure EZ, and I just named the app service as secure app service. We can now create it. So now we can publish this one to. I'm just creating the profile. Then we can. This profile will be used to publish the function app to the Azure portal. So once this is done, we will also use create some upload some data into the blob. Then we will try to get the data from the blob and put it into the and use it in the Azure function as well. By using, we will be not directly connecting to the blob from the function app. What we will do, we will use the key vault. We will store the connection string of the blob in the key vault, and we will use the key vault in our Azure function. Then we will the Azure function will communicate with the Azure storage via the key vault, not directly. So that's our main motto over here. So let's publish it. Okay. I think there is some problem here. Okay. So this is getting published. I'm directly publishing it from my Visual Studio. So let's wait once this is published, then we can see if we can see the. Let's go ahead. Where is our Azure portal? Yeah. So this is the Azure portal. We cannot see any function yet. Let's wait till the time it gets deployed. So once that is deployed, then we can see the. Yeah, I think it's published. So now we can see the Azure function over here. I'm still not seeing the Azure function. Did we check? Let me check if we use the proper one. Secureappservice.com. Yes, we use the one. Let me check. Let's go ahead and check our resource group. Sorry. I think I gave a wrong name. That's why it created another Azure function. Okay, that's okay. So yeah, so we have our secure function demo over here. So this is the function which we published into the Azure function over here. So let's go ahead and create a key vault for our demo 27, and then we will see how we will use that in our Azure function. So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and create a key vault. We can say that let's make it secure vault Azure easy. Yeah. So this is how we are creating the key vault. Let me check. Yeah, the deployment is still progress. We'll see once the key vault is. Yeah, I think the deployment is done. So we'll go ahead and create the secrets over here. What we will do, we'll generate the secret over here, and we need uh, the blobs connection string over here. So let's go ahead and copy the blobs connection string over here. So let's go ahead and create we have our Azure storage over here. So we will go ahead and check this one. So we will copy this one, and what we will do, we'll put it over here. I will just name it something secret uh, log, and we'll put the value over here, and we don't need to set the activation date and expiration date. I'm just leaving it as one as it is. Okay, so now let's go ahead and use this in our uh, Azure function. So this is the Azure function we created. So here, what you need to do when you go to the configuration, you need to put it in the you need to add the new application setting over here, and you need to put the key vault connection string over here. So for that, we as we have created the key vault over there, we will be adding that into our Azure function. So what we can do, we can just create it over here and name it as storage connection string and we need to give it as like the Microsoft Vault, and we need to fit the secret URI, and we need to just copy the where is my secret? This is my secret, and we need to just copy this URI, the secret identifier, and put it over here. We need to press OK. Now this storage connection string, we will use it in our Azure function. So let's go ahead and use it in our Azure function. So what I will do, I will just in the local setting.json, what I will do, I will just put it as a storage connection string, and I will put some dummy value. Let's put it as a test value. And what we will do, we will use it in our function demo and try to print it over there. So we don't need all this thing. What we can do, we can just read it from the local setting.json and print it over here. So what I can do, I don't need this ilogger and log anymore. So I just string connection string equals to environment dot get environment variable. What I will do, I will just try to get the value of this one. So then I will publish it and I'll send it as a response. So let's go ahead and publish it. So this is currently just I'm just trying to set the environment variable over in the local setting.json, and I'm just trying to return it from my code. Let me publish it, then we'll see. Yeah, it is publishing. So another thing I think I forgot to tell. So when you add the connection string over here as the storage connection string, it will try to get the reference from here, and if it get reference, then it will there will be a tick mark over here. We'll see whether your key vault will. Now it is not able to get the reference. We will see why it is not trying. So this it is saying that the MSI not enabled. So what we have to do, let me go over there. Okay, so I think we need to add the okay. So this is enabled. Let me go ahead. Okay. Yeah. So we need to add the access policy for our function app also. So for that, we need to give the secret management access over here. So that's where we forgot to give the permission, and it is not working. It is not able to resolve it here. So you need to keep it in mind that we need to give the access for our vault secure key vault to the application which we are using. So let's go ahead and keep the access over there. Then we will see how if it is able to resolve it or not. So we need to, can we see the principal? Let's see if we can see is the secure app service. Let me check which one we have it over here. I'm not able to find it. Let me see. Okay, this is done. This would be get. Secret permission would be get. Our cure. Let me check why we are not able to see. So I'm not seeing the function app which we created. It should be visible over there so that we could have seen the so specific secret. Access policies. Yeah, I think we should be able to see it. I'm not sure if I am not seeing that. Yes, we should be able to see it. Okay, let me check. What is the function app over here? Is the one. Yeah. I think we are not seeing the one. Let me check if we missed anything. Yeah, I think I am not able to see the function app. If I let me check if I have the other one working. So here I have a file parser function app, which is similar as the one which I have created. So here, if you see, I have the similar way I have in my configuration. I have the storage connection string over here. Yeah. So if you see this Key Vault reference, what I have done in my resource group confidential stack, I have one Key Vault, this one security vault Sanjeev, inside which I have a secure credential, and I have put the value from my Key Vault, which is my. If you see in this, I have a Key Vault over here. So let me check here. So yes, this is the Key Vault which I have, and I have just keep it as in my reference. I just put the value from the for my storage account. So this is the identifier, and this is the secret value which I have just put it over here. And if you see here inside my resource group confidential stack, I have the file parser Sanjeev as a function app, and inside that I have one function called file parser. And what it does, it just parse a file from the storage account, the storage account blob. Then it just try to get the reference. So if you see in my configuration, what it does, it has a storage connection string, and it just create a reference to the key vault over here. So then what it does, I have the code ready. Let me show you. So for inside this one, what I'm just doing, I have my function over here. I'm just trying to do the same thing, the Azure connection string, that environment.get environment variable storage connection string. And what I'm doing, I'm just putting the blob client reference, and I'm just creating the blob client object and the connection string over there. And what I'm saying, I'm just saying that get the data from the blob container name blob container name is drop, and I have a blob inside that, let's say task.txt, and I'm downloading the blob and sending that value to the as a function result. So let's go ahead and we will see how we will put some data into the blob. Let me go ahead. This is my blob. Let's go ahead and check. And this is the drop container which I have. It's already, let's delete it, and we will upload another blob. Let's go ahead and .txt. Okay. So this is my blob is uploaded, and my Azure function is there. So I have just created the Azure function over there and just published it. And the next step, what I did, in the configuration, I added the similar way. I have added the storage connection string over here, and I added the key vault reference as I demonstrated. But in the demonstration, somehow it is not. I'm not able to find the Azure Function app where I could have given the reference. I could have given the access where I showed it to you that how I have given the access. So this is where I have in the access policy, you just go ahead, do the add access policy, and from the principal, you just select the, if I show you the file parser Sanjeev. So here it is my Azure Function app it is showing. I can just go ahead and add it, and I can give the get reference, the get key permission, and secret permission as get. Then I can add it. I have already added it. So you can see just this is the one which I have added it. So the secret permission is get. If you want, as I just want the secret, so I have given the secret permission as get. The key permission I have not given it because I don't want to play it with the key. I just want to get the data from the secret. So now what it does, it directly gets the data from the Azure blob storage via the key vault reference. So if I go ahead and just run my file parser function, let me go ahead and code plus test. Let's go ahead and see what is there. I'm just trying to run it from the. Yeah, so if you see the file I uploaded, let me show you. The file I uploaded is task.txt. It has hello world. So this is the hello world, the one which I uploaded. And if you want to change some data and upload it, then also you can do that. So this is how the Azure function directly communicates with a storage account or a blob storage via the key vault, not directly. I'm not giving any direct reference, direct connection string of my blob storage into my Azure function. How I am communicating it with? I'm getting the data from the key vault. Then I'm through that connection string, I'm just communicating with this Azure storage. So I'll check it out. Like why my earlier one was not working. I think I missed some of any of the step, but I will definitely check it out. But this is one which I have created. This is the similar way. Like I have just Azure Function. I have a Key Vault and a storage account and a app service plan. When you deploy the Azure Function, it creates the app service plan for you. I think I mismanaged the other resource group. That's why there was some problem, but this one is working perfectly fine. So that's it from my side. I think if you have any question, you can put it on the Telegram, or still the time we have for the quiz. Till that time, you can post any question over there and we'll be able to answer you. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Bipin.
Thank you, Sanjeev, for wonderful sessions and demonstrating this thing to all the audience. This will definitely help all the participants to understand this thing in more easy way. And with this demo, now we will be moving to the demo you have demonstrated with the participant. Now, with all this, what we are going to do, we are now going for the next thing, that is our quiz for today. And to participate in this particular quiz, what you need to do, you need to scan this URL, and this URL will be valid for next 10 minutes from now. You can scan it from your mobile phone, or you can open this URL which is mentioned in this link. Now, if you appear for this quiz, you have a chance that you can win exam voucher. For every session, we have 6 winners now. From now, this quiz link is enabled, so you have next 10 minutes to appear for this quiz. Post 10 minutes from now, this quiz link will be disabled. Now, to win this exam voucher, there are some things that you people should be aware of. Like if you appear for this quiz today, we will announce a winner in our next session that will be coming on 18th of July 2021. And yes, you must be registered for all the sessions, and for the next sessions, you have a registration link, that is AzureTalk.com AZ-204. This is the link from where you can register for all the sessions that are coming, okay, in the future for this 204 track. Apart from this exam vouchers, you also have a chance that you can you have some cloud skill challenge on LinkedIn, and if you appear for that, you have a chance to win the Microsoft Surface Go. And for that particular thing, you have some more information related to this at this particular link, like https://azurez.com/ Azure-skill-521. You can open this link, and you will find the more detail, like how you will be getting all those things. Okay. So all the best to all the participants who are forming this particular quiz. We'll wait for some more time. So we still have 8 minutes to do this particular quiz. And post that, once this quiz will be done, we will be announcing the winner for our previous session. So we have 7 more minutes for this quiz as of now. The link for the same is also posted in the chat window, so you can see that in the Q&As. You can copy it from there as well. You can find this quiz URL from this slide, which I have shared. The link for that is https://q.azurez.com/ez-204. The alternative option for that is what you can scan this QR code. If you scan this QR code, this link will automatically open in the next browser. So it's still 5 minutes right now. Make sure to be a winner, you must have registered for all the sessions. Okay, and for all the future sessions, if you have not registered as of now, you can use this link azure.com/az-204. So that you can win the exam voucher, as well as you also have a chance to win one book authored by Ashish Ras, that is Demystifying Azure DevOps. So after today's sessions, we still have 3 more sessions that is related to AZ-204 series. Ashish, we have, I think, 4 more minutes from now for this quiz link, and post that this link will be disabled.
Okay.
And I hope that these sessions will be helpful for all the participants who are watching these sessions. But I've received a lot of messages on LinkedIn from the different people, like post these sessions, they were able to appear for the exam, and they have cleared the exam as well. Before this AZ-204, we have delivered the sessions on DevOps, that was AZ-400. Prior to that, we have also delivered the sessions on the fundamental track, AZ-900, 104. And a lot of people were able to appear for the exams on that. And if you think these sessions are helpful for you people as well, and you are sharing your stories on some social media like LinkedIn, please hashtag Azure Easy, so that can be helpful for other people as well in the community, because all these sessions are for the community purpose, to help more and more people learn this cloud, learn this and enhance their career as well. So you have 2 more minutes for this particular course. This is the last minute now, so just a few more seconds, and post that this quiz link will be disabled. So hurry up and try completing this quiz if you are still performing that. You can see a lot of responses from the different participants who have completed, and all those people who are still doing this quick. So you have few more seconds. This is the last minute now. So yes, the time up now. Ashish, you can disable this quiz link now. The time up.
Yep, it's disabled now.
Okay, thank you, Ashish. And with this, I hope that most of the people would have done this quiz very well. And let's see who are going to be the winner for this quiz in the next sessions. And for the previous session, now we'll be announcing the winner for all the people who have appeared the previous sessions and appeared for the quiz. Our previous sessions was on develop for Azure storage. Okay, so I'm handing over this to Ashish to announce the winner for those session, that particular session.
Yep, so I'm just taking the control and share my screen. Just give me a minute. Okay, so now I'm sharing my screen, and just let me get the names. So here we have the names of the people, out of which we'll be selecting the lucky 6 plus 1, 6 for the vouchers, 1 for the book. Let me start the wheel. And yeah, so the first winner is right. So Muhammad Mohsin is going to get the voucher. Now let me remove the name and then try again. So this is Ashish. Yeah. That's Gitika. So she has not put in the last name. So probably let's see if we will be able to find the email address. We request you to put all the information so that we can find the email address. Narasimha. So you're the fourth one. And that's Manoj Kumar. So this is the fifth one, and that will be the last one for the voucher. Okay, let's see, here's the last winner. And that's Matan. Matan, we are just going to connect you with you in this incoming week. Oh, okay, so the vouchers. Now we will select one of the winners for the book. And for book, it is Sandeepan. Sandeepan, I will soon contact you for the book details so that I mean for the shipping address and all so that I can send you the copy. All right, so these are the winners of the previous session. Similarly, we will be kind of having the having this wheels of winner for the next in the next session, where you all have participated in today's quiz will be having their name in this list, and lucky 6 will be selected for the vouchers, and one of the winner will be selected for the book. And with that, this is our session about to end. So yeah, let me
Ashish,
yeah.
yes, so Ashish, Sanjeev has to show something related to the demo. Sanjeev, you can first share your screen and show that respective issue that you wanted to show to the audience, and post that you can hand over to me.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashish and Bipin, for giving me the last bit of time. So I got the problem actually. What was the problem? So let me share my screen and I'll show you. So the problem was like when you wanted to give any function app and access to the key vault. So what you need to do, this is my resource group demo 27, and I have my secure function Azure Easy. So you had to go ahead and in the identity section. So what you need to do, you need to enable this one, the system assigned. You need to normally it stays the status at off. So you need to make it on so that this can be accessed in your key vault principle. So what I have done, I have just make it on. By default, it remains is off. So what you need to do, as I have make it on, then you need to go ahead and check in the key vault. When you need to go to the access policy, you just need to add access policy. In the select principal, you just need to search your function name. So let's, in our case, it was secure function Azure Easy. So you need to just select it, and you need to give the permission, secret permission, as I mentioned earlier. So that was the one major thing which for which the function I was not able to select my Azure function as the principal in my while giving the access policy in the key vault. Yeah, so Bipin, that's what I wanted to just show it. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Sanjeev.
Yep.
So thanks that you helped our audience to understand this situation as well. Let me share this screen, and then Ashish, you can wind up with the last message to the audience for this. So we have already announced the winner, and then
Okay, so yeah, before we, just going to wind up, I have exciting news for our community and those people who are left right now. Let me share my screen quickly. Okay. So, okay, so you guys should be able to see my screen where we have an exciting opportunity from one of our community member. So we have just got this requirement from one of the community member, and you can see the job requirement. If you are someone having these skills and interested to apply, you can send your resume to my email address that is listed on the screen. And you can, what I will do, I will just share it, to the concerned people, and then they will probably connect with you if your profile matches their requirement. So this kind of, we are just trying to find opportunities where our community member can be given explicit, can be given a priority explicitly, if that matches the aspiration of the people. So okay, so yeah, that's all we want to share on this. If you have a discussion, then I mean, if you have if you are aligned with this skill set, please go ahead and share your resume, and we will. I will just forward it further, and will hopefully you'll get your opportunity if that matches your requirement. Now let me share the screen for the last slide that we have, and that is probably the one which we use to end our session. So let me share my screen again to share the slide, and let's quickly end up the session. Okay, so yeah. So as you have, Vipin has helped us to go through the conceptual discussion. If you want to connect with him, you can connect with him on this website and his LinkedIn profile. Sanjeev, has helped us to demonstrate the key aspect when you are a developer, how to use those libraries in your .NET platform or any other platform to say, from the conceptual point of view. So you can connect with him if you want. And the last, my details, if you are interested to connect with me, I have all the website as well as my LinkedIn profile and my YouTube channel and Twitter handle as well. If you have not registered for the session yet, please go ahead and register at azurez.com/az204. That's our Eventbrite page redirect URL, and the group t.me/AzureTalk. That is our Telegram group for Azure. More than 10,000 members there. You can ask any question related to Azure, anything related to cloud, and more than 10,000 people are there to help you there in an interactive chat manner. And we all the core members are already there. Mostly we are one of them are online, and they will be probably helping you there. Azure DevOps Pro, that is my DevOps group where you can ask anything related to DevOps. You can join there as well. And then our YouTube channel. There you can find all the previous sessions. So we have done AZ-400, we have done AZ-104, we have done AZ-900, and AZ-204 is the another series in that sequence. And probably we are planning for next certification series as soon as we will end this current one. So you'll find a lot of excited content over there if you are someone who is looking into learning Azure, by seeing the hands-on labs and by going into the deep inside the conceptual things. That is it. Thank you so much for joining us and taking a time on the weekend and helping us to conduct this session. We are if you have any feedback, please share your feedback in the Telegram channel. We will respond back to you, and probably we will work on those feedbacks, positive, negative, whatever. It feels good to hear back from the community about the things that we are trying to do and the objective that we have. And with that, I will just finish and conclude this session today. Again, have a good day, have a good learning, and let us know wherever you think we can improve upon. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.